What I'm doing today, it's your boy JG Domination, and today we are here to break down the Thursday Night Football matchup happening week 4 of this season. Of course, we're talking about the Philadelphia Eagles traveling into Green Bay to face those Packers. I'm not going to be playing this game. It's going to be a simulation with the computer. I'm just here to break down 5 things to watch for in this game for the Thursday night preview. Now, on Thursday night, I am 1 for 2 on the predictions, and ironically, the only one that I got right was the one involving this team, the Green Bay Packers. So let's see if I can go 2-0, 2 for 2 with the Green Bay Packers. Alright, so let's start off with the first thing, since the Packers are on offense on here. How will Jim Schwartz's defense play against Aaron Rodgers? Now, if you don't know who Jim Schwartz is, he is the defensive play caller for the Philadelphia Eagles. He's probably more well-known and formerly known as the Detroit Lions head coach in, like, Aaron Rodgers' early career or whatever. So, let's see. So, yeah, I'm sorry. I'm looking down at my phone as I'm talking. But, you know, when it comes to Jim Schwartz, of course, he used to coach the Detroit Lions, and his philosophy is he only likes to rush for players. That's what he does a lot. He relies on his defensive line to get the work done. Ever so often, here and there, he'll dial up a blitz, and he'll show different looks, but he really likes to get home with 4 pass rushers. And this team is pretty loaded at those positions. Now, some guys, of course, are dealing with injuries, like Malik Jackson's out for the year. I'm pretty sure Timmy Jernigan's dealing with a little injury. So their depth isn't looking the hottest, but they have a good D-line depth. They've done a good job of just checking out the free agent wire and picking up guys here and there. You know, that'll be decent depth guys. But Jim Schwartz, I mean, he is a familiar face when it comes to the Green Bay Packers, when it comes to this team in particular, when it comes to this quarterback. I mean, he knows how to play Aaron Rodgers. The question is, will he have any success? And we'll definitely find out that answer. You know, Green Bay's faced some tough pass rushes this year, and it's not going to get any easier because we're going up against Fletcher Cox and Brandon Graham. And I think Derek Barnett is cleared to play as of recording this, so that's a good thing for him. So it's not getting any easier. You know, week 1, of course, Khalil Mack, Leonard Floyd, and Akeem Hicks. Week 2, it's Danielle Hunter, Everson Griffin, and Linval Joseph. And in week 3, it's Von Miller, Bradley Chubb, and Derek Wolfe. So it's not going to get any easier. And then next week, of course, Green Bay faces Dallas. They'll go up against DeMarcus Lawrence, Robert Quinn, and Malik Collins. So it's not going to get particularly any easier. Question number 2, this is for Philadelphia's offense at least. Will Alshon Jeffrey have a major impact in this game? Alshon Jeffrey is actually cleared to play, and he's going to be a full go for the Philadelphia Eagles. He missed the game against the Detroit Lions after he got injured in the Falcons game. Probably the smart move for Philadelphia. I know they lost the game, but in terms of, long-term thinking, it was probably a good thing that he sat out that game because he'll be fresh for this short week. So pretty strategic, pretty smart move on the part of the Philadelphia Eagles there. I give him props. But how impactful will he be? And this isn't me talking as a cocky Packer fan, but our secondaries look pretty good, and a lot of that has to do with having a pass rush and just the guys in the secondary actually improving. It's kind of like what the Bears went through last season. Chicago really benefited from having a Khalil Mack, as many teams would, and because of that, corners like Kyle Fuller and Prince Amukamara were able to look very good. I mean, they're good corners, but they're not like these lockdown corners like people may think. I mean, they give up big plays too here and there. But how will Jair Alexander do on Alshon Jeffrey? Because I'm pretty sure that's going to be his matchup unless they throw Kevin King on him, who actually has the size and the athleticism to match. It's just about putting it all together. So it'll be interesting to see how involved they get him. They'll also have Nelson Aguilar, who of course is coming off a rough week. Literally was made fun of by a fireman for not being able to catch the football. J.J. Arcega-Whiteside is going to be cleared. Deshaun Jackson not going to play for at least 2 more weeks, which we kind of figured anyway. Maybe next week on a longer week there's a good chance he might play, but we'll just have to wait and see. So Alshon Jeffrey, will he have a major impact in this game? It really just depends on the matchup. Like we did see in week 1, Green Bay had Tony Brown on Allen Robinson. Really not a great matchup. We haven't really seen much of Tony Brown in the starting defenses since. I mean, it's been mainly Tramon Williams out there at corner. We've gotten to see some Josh Jackson here and there, which is a good thing for me because I really liked him coming out of college. But let's move on to the third thing. How will the Packers' run defense look against Philadelphia's running backs? Jordan Howard is Philadelphia's starting running back, and he is no stranger to the Green Bay Packers. You know, Jordan Howard was a former Chicago Bear. He ran pretty well last year. He quietly had 1,000 yards because everybody was talking about the Bears' defense and how Mitch needs to make improvements, and they kind of glossed over the fact that Jordan Howard quietly had 1,000 yards, including me. I actually didn't know it. I had to look that one up. I didn't realize he quietly had 1,000 yards. I can see him having 1,000 again in Philadelphia, but it's not just Jordan Howard. I feel like we do better against those like true power backs. It's those guys that are really good at breaking tackles and getting into the open field. Not saying that Jordan Howard can't do that, but it's not really his strong suit. So guys like Miles Sanders, I think, could be pretty big in this game. We saw what Dalvin Cook and Phillip Lindsay were able to do against this defense. Miles Sanders, a pretty good rookie running back. He could have some success in this game, truth be told. We've been allowing a lot of yards in the run game, but, it's not necessarily about yards. It's about points. I value the scoreboard way more than how many yards you get, but still, a lot of that could lead to points if we're not careful, if we're not making the plays that we've been making the last 3 weeks, getting that big third down sack, locking up on 3rd and 12. I mean, it all just depends. Question number 4, though. Will Green Bay's offense begin to show consistency? Green Bay's offense has been hot in spurts, but they haven't really been able to maintain a good level of consistency. Like, against the Bears, they had one really good drive where they just went down the field in 5 plays, and you're like, oh shit, the pack is back. Here they go, making the Bears look average. And then you realize that's the only touchdown they're going to score. That's the only touchdown that's going to be scored in that game, because neither offense is really sharp at this point. And then in week 2, we looked good for an entire quarter. As a matter of fact, it was the entire first quarter that we looked really good in. But, Minnesota made their adjustments. We weren't really able to move the ball effectively. And really, Green Bay shot themselves in the foot. I mean, a couple of turnovers, a bad fumble from Geronimo Allison. Green Bay did shoot themselves in the foot. And then against Denver, we really started to pick things up. We almost put together a pretty good half in the first half. So we slowly started to put things together. But against Philadelphia, we're going to have to play a complete game as Mason Crosby gets face masked right there on a fake field goal that the CPU ran. But Green Bay's offense is going to have to find some consistency. If not, it could be rough. And we have played some really good defenses. I can make the argument that all 3 teams that we played will finish top 12 defensively, just overall, not even just scoring defense, but overall. So, you could make that argument, but, we are facing Philadelphia. They're wounded on the defensive side. They have 2 defensive tackles missing. I think they have a couple of DBs out as well, including Ronald Darby, which is huge. So we have to be able to take advantage against a wounded team. Now, they do have good depth, and I believe in Philadelphia's depth. However, you got to get the job done, and if not, people are going to be looking at the 1 loss more than the 3 wins that they have on the record, them being Green Bay. And the final question, can Carson Wentz properly begin his MVP push? A lot of people, including myself, predicted Carson Wentz to be the MVP. And to be honest, it just hasn't quite gone that way. The first game they beat Washington. You're taking advantage of Washington, but you're also capitalizing on an opportunity to beat a division rival early. And then in week 2, you run into a juggernaut in Atlanta at home with the home crowd. You almost win that game, but really, it was about who can stop messing up the most. And the Falcons just happened to get their shit together before Philly could. And then in this game against Detroit, A lot of drops, a lot of penalties as well, and just some injuries as well carrying over. But at the end of the day, you know, they just weren't able to execute. And I think Philadelphia can only go so long without properly being able to execute. I think Wentz could have a pretty solid game, but I don't know. It's all going to depend on the line of scrimmage. You know, Philadelphia's offensive line, arguably the best in football. They're dealing with a little bit of injuries, and their play hasn't particularly been the greatest. And it was only 5 days ago, when this video goes up, it'll be Thursday, that they played the Detroit Lions, and Detroit has a pretty physical front seven. Well, so does Green Bay. Green Bay's front seven is tied for second in sacks, number 1, I believe, in quarterback pressures, number 1 in takeaways. Maybe not number 1 in pressures. I think they're top 5 in pressures, but they're number 1 in takeaways, number 2 scoring defense. I mean, this defense has played pretty well, and you can't necessarily say they haven't played anyone. I mean, Chicago's offense didn't look bad against Washington. Granted, Washington's not the greatest example, but like Minnesota, they put up 28 against Atlanta and 34 against Oakland. I mean, Oakland's terrible. I don't think Atlanta's going to be terrible. I think they'll get their shit together eventually, but bottom line, it's not like we played a bunch of trash teams. I mean, the Vikings and the Bears are 2-1, for crying out loud. The Broncos are 0-3, but they're not a terrible 0-3 team. I mean, all of their losses have been 1 possession, except for the game against Green Bay. But the real question is, will Carson Wentz begin to properly make his MVP push? I would say not quite. I think he'll have a good showing, but I don't think it'll be MVP-esque Carson Wentz. But I guess now this is the time where we pick a winner, since there's like a minute left in the first quarter. I'm 1-2 this season. My only one came with the Green Bay pick, which I didn't really make a prediction in the video, but come on, like, I promise you guys I did not bet against my team. With that being said, you know, I've picked my team to win all 3 of their games, and they've done that. This game I'm back and forth on because it feels like a game we should win. But we are coming off of a short week. However, I have too much damn pride, and I'm going to pick my team to win. I'm picking Green Bay to win this game. You can call me a homer all you want. You can say I'm biased. You know, but, I mean, why wouldn't I pick my team to win? We're 3-0. Philadelphia is a very good football team, but I feel like if we just continue to execute like we have been the past 3 weeks, you know, then we should be fine, right? I mean, Carson Wentz is a legitimate quarterback. He's the only good quarterback we've played so far as I'm concerned. But, you know, if we take care of our shit, there shouldn't really be a problem. And I like the way that we're playing, and I'm not going to over-exaggerate. Yeah, I want to see our defense actually play good quarterbacks, but, you know, I can only go based on what I've seen, and based on what I've seen, the Packers have looked very good defensively, and offensively, they've shown signs that they could be pretty good, but they haven't quite put it all together yet. So, in my mind, I think Green Bay wins. I think it'll be close. It'll be like, you know, 30-23, 30-22. I think it'll be a close game. But hopefully y'all enjoy, man. Go Pack, go. You already know. And yeah, I'll react to this game with all of the other Week 4 matchups. And I can't wait to watch the rest of the league on Sunday and Monday, of course. So hopefully you guys enjoy. Peace out.